You guys want a quick and easy way to break down a pallet? I'm about to show you how to do that. This is the way I do it. If you have another way that you found that works easier for you, please share it in the comments, let me know. But what everybody wanted to do, planter boxes and pallet walls, and in my case, I'm gonna be making some crates out of slats from a wood pallet. I'm gonna show you how to break it down and then hopefully walk you guys through some steps to make something that you guys can use for later on. But first, let me show you what tools you're gonna need. All right, here you go. Here's my tools for this project. I do got a Sawzall, I got a wood blade and a metal blade. I do suggest the longer blades. You guys see I got a shorter blade here, but that's not really gonna work. You're gonna want, you know, a longer blade because you're gonna want that flex to get some of the nails that are in the middle. You are working with wood, so I do prefer leather gloves. You want to minimize the splinters that you are getting. If you need any type of ear pro, see how tiny my headphones are? They fit in between my two fingers. You can use headphones, you know, ear pro. And if you want to remove any of the nails at the end of the day, you can get a little cat's paw, as we call it, and you can use that and just kind of pop out your nails. All right, I'll just show you guys my pallet here. So this is actually a 9-foot long pallet. So I'm gonna kind of chop it down in pieces, and then I'll show you guys me cutting these slats off. And then pretty much what you want to do is just, once you change your blade and you got your metal blade, you want to go in between the slats here and just shoot down with your Sawzall and cut those nails off. And once you do that, honestly, you're gonna have a couple slats that you're gonna want to use, and it comes straight off. And you don't have to use a pry bar and try to fight with it, because that's never gonna happen. Most of these boards are pressure treated or heat treated, so if you try to use a pry bar on them, you're just gonna rip them up into little shreds like you see right there. All right, so I got my pallet already chopped up into manageable pieces. Making sure my blade's in there a lot. I'm just going to go right down the sides. You guys see that that pretty much made quick work of that pallet. And I got boards now, you know, we're not going to be using them for. They're not cracked. If you're going to try to remove the nails, you can probably get most of them out. Most of them are in there pretty deep. Just add it to the value of your next DIY project. But as you can see, pretty much everything came out pretty good. And then You can use the rest of these 2x4s if you want. You can cut them up, save them for any other projects you guys might want to do. But it's definitely, I think I'm going to save the bottom slats so that way my baskets that I'm going to be making will have some ground clearance, so they're not laying flat on the ground. So I want to store some potatoes in it, so I need to make sure I maximize the air that's going around them. All right, so after about 5 or 6 minutes, that 8-foot pallet, honestly, I got that many slats out of it that are gonna be good that I can use. Okay, if you have some that are cracked but you're just using it, you know, a garden box, you can always double up on them later on. It's up to you. Throw them away. This one has a crack in the middle of it, but I'm only gonna be using the first 2 inches of these boards. So, oop, there they go, they all fall over. But as you can see, pretty simple. All right, so now we're at the next stage of making these little boxes. And I got my table saw out. I'm gonna make some strips. So I got about 2 1/4. All right, and you see here on the ground, I made some strips already at about 2 1/4. So if you don't have a table saw, you can always get help from someone, or even maybe, you know, you can buy pre-cut lengths of like fur stripping, whatever you guys want to do. Alright, so I got the first board cut. Obviously I'm using my cat's paw to kind of feed it through a little bit so I don't get my hands pinched off. You can see I kind of at that 2 1/4 gives me enough angle where the saw blade is going to miss the nails. There you go. Now just to kind of trim them up, I'll just do the ends. Yeah, I'll just get rid of that nasty end there. There you go. So as you see now, I got a pretty squared away end. You can see on the reason why I'm doing those tips, because you have where the boards are all splitting at. Definitely gives me an advantage when I'm putting it back together, making sure things are neat. And then after you get a pile, then you can just start measuring out your lengths and what you want to do. All right, so here's our little harvest box that we're making here. It's pretty simple. As you can see, I just pretty much did 4 corners. I got some uprights on the inside here. All right, I'll spin it back over. On the bottom, I have a cleat on each side, kind of hold the base together. All right, get it off the ground a little bit. Now, once you get your pallet slats kind of trimmed down, as you can see, I got a 17-inch one. And you're gonna need 10 of those. There's a 12 1/8, and on that you're gonna need 2 of those. 10 3/4, you'll need 6, and on the 9-inch you're gonna need I want to say 4. Those are going to be your uprights on the inside. Those 12 1/8 are going to be the 2 bottom cleats on the bottom that you're going to tack everything to. Obviously your 17-inch ones are going to be your long boards, pretty much your left and right limits. Your 10 3/4, well, those are going to be your sides. And I'm going to show you how to slowly put those together. You got a little brad nailer here, right? Nothing fancy. I could have borrowed one, but this was on sale. And those are 18-inch staples. That's kind of what they look like here. So 18 gauge, correction, 18 gauge. All right, so now that we're gonna get everything started, we're going to go ahead and get our base put in. These are going to be those 12-inch and 1/8 boards. And then what I do is just put one up at the top. I'm going to leave a 1-inch overhang. Leaving the 1-inch overhang just kind of gives you a little bit more of a centering on these things. They're not completely perfect when you cut them down, unless you want to put them through a planer. Now it's okay if these boards don't line up perfectly or they're a little crooked. Remember, this is all rough cut. There you go. First ones are in. Make sure I have an inch overhang. Just kind of hitting it around 4 times. On each corner, kind of squares you up a little bit. That's a nice piece. And sometimes you might get one that might not sit all the way. Just kind of flatten it out. As you see, that your base, pretty much, you have to be doing. Next part is kind of tricky. You want to start building your sides. So all I'm going to do is just pretty much line these up. If you have some clamps, it'd be the best option so you don't lose the board and nail it in crooked. But right now I don't have my clamps with me. The best thing to do is kind of line it up. And you have a board will start to look like that, and you can start getting your sides done. Now make it easy for you to do the other half, since that's already together. Normally borrow brad nailer from somebody, but the more you borrow stuff, you might as well just get your own eventually. Now our little sides, you see they're 10 3/4. They just kind of fit right in, just like that. Like I said, I didn't plane these boards. You don't have to. I kind of like the rustic look. So they are a little crooked, but that's perfect. That's what I'm looking for. There you go. Now we're starting to get that side put in. Of course, I picked a day when the sun is out, nice and hot. All right. If it's a little tight, like this one is, just hammer it in there really lightly. Remember, this is only held together with staples. So every time you hit a corner, if you hit it too hard, you might knock out the other side. So I learned the hard way doing that first one. There you go. There's the base of that. Now I'm going to do the uprights. Each of these uprights would just go in on the corner. I used the flat end on the outsides. Now, sometimes when you're nailing, there's not enough support on the other side. You definitely don't want to get your hands pinched. So that's why I used 1 1/4 staples. I can go on the inside, right? And you can see no nails come out on the other side, and it's just enough for these boards. They're 5/8 thick, so that's 1 1/4. So there's a perfect. So these are gonna be neat little boxes. See, we do got some sweet potatoes this year, carrots, so we want a place to kind of store them so they can cure a little bit. You can always add a 3rd staple in if you want. These are a little strength. And now you see, make a little table for a squirrel. That's it right there. I'm just gonna load up some more staples really quick. Then I'll just show you how fast that really can go together. Each of the slats I'm spacing about 1 inch apart. So you can rough estimate it the best that you can. I said it's just a rustic box. Perfect. Put the top one just flush with that top board. Got the one side done. Now you just flip it over and just use those boards as a guide as I wrap it all the way around. Pretty simple here. You guys can start seeing it's coming together. Now the amount of staples you put in is up to you. I'm putting one back on the other opposite direction. You don't have to get too crazy with them. If it comes loose later on for any reason, you know, just your basket's getting old. Then add a few more staples. I'm looking for something that was gonna function. Doesn't have to be super perfect. If you get a staple that pops up, just wait to the end. I did have a staple here that didn't go down all the way because I kind of lifted up too early. But I'm not gonna mess with it now, because if I was to tap it with the hammer, it'll probably make it push out another board from the other side. That's all. This piece here. Yeah, you got a rough piece, you got a rough piece. Nothing to do about it. That one. Perfect. All right, so there you go, finished product. You do have a little harvest basket made from pallets. Shows you guys an easy way to kind of break those down. Gave you guys quick measurements. Pretty rustic. There's the bottom. You can make these as big as you want, and you can use any part of those pallets as you feel like. Remember, whatever your mind wants, you can design it, make it. Like I said, we just had extra pallets laying around. I did have the tools already, so you know, it's kudos for me. If you guys don't have tools, you guys can go to places like Harbor Freight, where you can get tools at a lesser price. As you can see, I got an old DeWalt that I paid $40 for at a pawn shop, and then I paid about $30 for that brad nailer. So you don't have to have brand new tools, borrowed tools, whatever you need to do, you can make it happen. If you guys like what you see, hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe for some more projects later on. Thank you.